back again with this topic for part two. Part one was very interesting, so I want to talk more in depth because I don't think people really got a great understanding of what I was trying to convey in the last video that I made on this subject. None other than obsession spells. Now, obsession spells, I'm going to talk about the jewelry aspect of it as well as the spell aspect of it. Now, on the jewelry aspect of it, which pretty much is rings, it could be a pendant, it could be any one of those. When it comes down to obsession rings or jewelry for that purpose, the force that the ring is connected with, it draws people to you. So when you put the ring on, what happens is that you form let's just say, a spiritual marriage with a force that is going to drag people your way so that it can work through them to get you what you desire. So let's just say this. You wear the ring. Now what happens is that you begin to see lovers come into your life. It could be old past lovers. It could be, it could be whomever. As long as they share something in common with the force, that force is going to utilize the person to interact with you through them. So when you have these rings or whenever you're doing spell work, it is a force that comes over the person that makes them act in the manner you want them to. So when you see this spiritually, you would say that when you're actually having intercourse with your target, you're actually having intercourse with the spirit through them. Now, when we're talking about the effects of it, I'm going to get into this now because I talked about what is about how it works, but now I'm going to talk about what are the symptoms when doing this type of work. Now on the ring note or the jewelry note with the obsession, what you begin to see is that these forces, you could say, if you want to call it love, it's a force that compels the person to even go through a burning building for you. It is as though that they have no bounds. Like once they're caught up with you, it basically drives them with a force that they will even fly overseas to come see you. That's how much of a compelling power that the obsession spell has, where they have to be with you. They do not take no for an answer, But now, I want to talk about obsession spells, moving away from jewelry now. Now, when you're talking about obsession spells, you're targeting an individual. You're targeting an individual and you're trying to make his mind consumed with the thought of you. Now, when you're doing this work here, this is a job that can be a little complicated because it's something like they say, it's easier said than done, because you have people that, let's just say, you have people that think when they do the spell it's going to work instantly. It doesn't work like that. You have to take consideration factors around your situation or case. If you're doing work on a target, is this person involved with someone else? Is this person around a lot of people? How is this person's life? Because you have to take these things into consideration, because the mind is what's being attacked. When you're putting the work on a person, you're trying to break your way into that person's psyche, or if we say their soul. So their soul can take messages from the force that you are sending to bring this person to you or to obsess over you. Now, when the work locks on the target, what happens is that they begin to show means of affection. They become, they tend to basically, let's just say, idolize you. They worship the ground you walk on. They begin to bend over backwards. But the thing is, you have to keep this in mind, is that the way you keep this spell going on is by your distance. The more you give the person, let's just say if you're trying to build this obsession in the person, you have to give them distance. And this is something that I say with people, when I tell them not to contact individuals, I say this because you're building up this desire to have you. And when you build this desire up to have you, these people will do anything in that moment of desperation. But you also got to keep in mind is that you do not want to annoy your target because that stuff gets in the way. The more you stay away, the more the passion builds in the person. And when they come to you without you giving them a reason to be mad or to be upset, they will definitely give in to what they inwardly desire. Now, I want to say this to you people is that you also got to take consideration the situation once again, because you don't know, basically, let me just say this. You want to take in consideration the situation. Is he seeing someone or is he not seeing someone? Because if you do not build that obsession by giving that person distance, what begins to happen is that they will come back to you with false means, where the obsession is not really on them. They come back because they got they miss you a little bit in their heart, but now they're gonna play games. They're gonna play games a little bit, and this is what leads into my work. Because I'm not going to say this with other people, because other people can do work, but there's no consequences with the work. You know what I'm saying? Some people try to imitate what they hear me speaking about on social media, or they try to imitate what they see, me write about whatsoever. But the reality is this: the proof is in the pudding, because after a while, you'll begin to see consequences for every time that person steps out. And I mean, if you read the screenshots, you can see everything from various things that people have stated about my work to know what the consequences are. But when doing obsession spells, scenarios, the environment, you have to create that environment in order for it to happen. By you constantly trying to argue back and forth or constantly trying to call this person back and forth, you're not giving the job room to work. If anything, you're actually creating more of conflict of interest for what you're doing. You don't want to have a conflict of interest scenario where you're doing something and you're basically destroying or ruining it. That's all I have to say for today. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, and subscribe.